In this lesson, we will be focusing on constructivism. We will discover what constructivism is and the process it entails. We will also be focusing on what teaching strategies are used in the constructivist learning style. Constructivism is a learning theory of how knowledge is obtained. The theory includes that students create their own knowledge through previous experiences. This theory was formed by Piaget, Vygotsky, and Dewey. Traditional learning would infer that the teacher has all the knowledge and relays the knowledge to the students without them actively being involved. The constructivist classroom is set up differently than the traditional rows in a classroom. The desks are arranged in pairs or small groups where collaboration with their peers is easily accessible and required for successful learning to occur. The teacher's role in the constructivist theory is that teachers promote critical thinking. This would imply that teachers have to form questions to get students to begin to dig deeper and make connections with the new information. Teachers also have to build students' schema if they lack prior life experiences in order for constructivism to be successful. The student's role in constructivism is to be actively engaged and constantly making connections with information to form knowledge. When students are presented with questions, the students have to research and collaborate with one another to discover the answers. Teaching strategies involve scaffolding to easily introduce new questions and problems from the teacher to the students. Then they will research to gain information on the topic and collaborate with their classmates to discover the answers. Then finally, they will work independently to form the connections from the new information to their prior knowledge. Assessments also differ from traditional learning style of memorizing information and then regurgitating it on a test. Constructivism assessments include tracking students' progression of gaining knowledge through activities such as case studies, group projects, and debates. With these activities, students are provided with feedback in which they will apply their newly obtained knowledge. The PAR model is a type of lesson structure. The structure contains 3 stages, which are presenting, applying, and reviewing. Presenting involves about 35% of the lesson where the teacher presents the learning objectives, the new material, and the learning is checked in progress. The second stage is applying, which is 60% of the lesson. Applying involves students being given tasks that require them to apply the newly obtained knowledge and information and applying it to theories and skills that have just been presented to them in stage 1. The teacher should check students' progress and keep the students on the right track. The third stage is review. In the reviewing stage, this is 5% minimum of the lesson. Reviewing involves summarizing the lesson, questioning and answering, and assessment. The PAR model is very similar to the constructivist theory because it involves the teacher creating a problem or scenario and the students are actively searching and collaborating with one another to gain knowledge. My scenario I have created for you is the water cycle. So for the first stage of the PAR model, I would present the students with the topic, the water cycle. I would address the learning objectives for the water cycle lesson and present my students with new information and check for understanding. As we move through the information, the second stage of my lesson would be to let students apply their knowledge of the water cycle into a project. I would want my students to work in groups of 4 to create a poster of visuals of the different stages of the cycle. Finally, we would review the water cycle by allowing each group to identify one of the stages in the water cycle by displaying their artwork and explaining the process. In this lesson, we identified what constructivism is and the process it entails, as well as comparing it to the PAR model. I hope you find this lesson helpful as you are learning.